Flintlock means it uses a flint for ignition. In other words, when I pull the trigger, the flint that's held right here will spring forward, hit this vertical piece of steel, and make a spark in this manner. If the gun is loaded, which of course it is not, then theoretically what will happen is black powder in the pan, and this is the pan right here, will be ignited by the spark you just saw, and above the pan, with a really small hole that's very, very hard to see, part of the explosion that occurs when the black powder is ignited passes through the barrel, ignites the cartridge inside, and the weapon fires. Next thing you need to do is to reach for a cartridge. The cartridge is kept in the cartridge box. One of the reasons the flap is so long is to make sure the powder is dry. If the powder is wet, the musket doesn't fire. It's that simple. Cartridges themselves are individually wrapped. What I'm about to fire is a blank, but if this were a real live round, there would be a round lead ball at the bottom where my thumb is. Above that, there would be approximately 90 grains of black powder, and then there'd be a twisted tail at the top to keep everything together. The next step is to remove the tail with your teeth. I'm going to simply tear off the tail in a very unauthentic manner because I want to save the teeth that I've got. Next step is you put the weapon on half-cock or safety, pour some powder from the cartridge into the pan. The weapon is now primed. The next step is to shut the pan. Once you shut the pan, you can turn the weapon around without spilling the powder. The rest of the charge goes down the muzzle. That's why these weapons are called muzzle loaders. Right now, though, the charge is located up here by the muzzle, and it needs to be down at the other end where the spark is going to be. So the only way for this weapon to fire is to take the ramrod again and make sure the charge is properly seated down at the breech end of the weapon. And then, of course, you remove the rod, return to the channel. The weapon is now loaded and ready to fire. The weapon is taken off the half-cock or safety position, and the weapon is fired. I hear it echo back. As long as there's no return fire, we're okay.
The Friends of Colonial Pemaquid is an all-volunteer, non-profit organization founded to help the Maine State Bureau of Parks, Lands, and Conservation with educational programs and projects at its historic site in Pemaquid, Maine.